What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to be teaching you everything that you need to know to get started with cannabis tissue culture, cloning thousands of plants from the comfort of your own home. And if you're watching this video wondering how on earth we are going to survive with big alcohol managing to completely subvert a multi-billion-dollar industry in an attempt to bring back drinking and driving and forcibly increase dwindling profit margins for an evil globalist conglomerate, then this video is for you. The first thing that we're going to need is media for the plants to grow in tissue culture. Media is really important because it provides all of the necessary nutrients, vitamins, hormones needed for the plant to grow outside of its natural environment. The media, which is this clear substrate, is typically made of 5 ingredients. The first ingredient is distilled water, which makes up the bulk of the media. The second is Miraskigi and Scooge, a basil salt medium, which is usually abbreviated to MS. The third is sugar. This gives the plants the energy that they will need to grow. Fourth is a gelling agent, and to turn the media into a liquid or semi-solid, this will usually be either agar or gelling gum. And the fifth is going to be plant growth regulators, or PGRs, which are plant hormones. If you live in the United States, all of these ingredients are really easy to get. If you live elsewhere, I would recommend joining a country with at least some semblance of freedom left, if you can find a country like that anymore. The quantities of these ingredients to make 1 liter of tissue culture media will differ depending on the protocol that you're following, and a protocol is simply a set of instructions, or an SOP, if you will, for culturing a particular type of plant. And I'll provide the exact recipe for preparing this media. You can find other protocols on websites like ResearchGate or Google Scholar. Following these instructions, we will add 800 milliliters of distilled water to our container, and then I add 4.54 grams of MS, 30 grams of sugar, 3 grams of gelling gum, and then our plant growth regulators, which are 1 milligram per liter of BAP and 0.1 milligrams per liter of IPA. Keep in mind, plant growth regulators are technically pesticides, and I would always recommend reading safety data sheets for whatever chemicals you're working with, not only to familiarize yourself with how to handle them properly and safely, how to store them, but also how to dispose of them. Once everything is added, we top off the water to the 1 liter mark, and we'll mix everything together on a magnetic stir. The one that I'm showing in these clips is pretty expensive, but I'm going to, show you a more economical option that you could use. The pH for the tissue culture media is super important. Most protocols require the pH of the media to be between 5.6 and 5.8. We will adjust the pH using hydroponic up and down until it's 5.7. Then you're going to pour the media into individual containers. The lever that you fill them to should be about the width of your index finger, and the containers need to either be glass or polypropylene. Any lids need to be made of polypropylene, or else they are going to melt during the next step of the process, which is the media sterilization. So the media needs to be completely sterile for TC. If there's even 1 little surviving cell of bacteria or 1 spore of mold, your culture will get contaminated and you will have to start over. We're going to pressure cook the tissue culture media for 15 minutes at 15 psi in an old school conventional style pressure cooker. Make sure to not secure the lids of the containers before running the pressure cooker. Just run them with the lids resting slightly on the top, and then once you open the pressure cooker, you'll want to go ahead and snap those lids on immediately to prevent any cross-contamination. We're also going to need to sterilize a set of forceps. You can buy these sterilization pouches that are intended for a dentist's office. They work great for tissue culture. The forceps also get sterilized for 15 to 20 minutes at 15 psi, so the exact way that you would sterilize the media. 99% of the time, this is where the contamination happens. And at the end of the video, this is just a recipe for the media. At the end of the video, we are going to show you how to cut those pieces and also prepare them in your media for the growth cycle of the plant. If you're new to tissue culture, I would suggest instead starting with an existing plant start, one that's already in tissue culture. This ensures that the plant is already sterile from the beginning of the process, and it allows you to just put it into the multiplication media to get it cloning itself again. In the past few years, we've seen an astronomical increase in the amount of people that are willing to offer pre-cultured samples. For anyone interested in pursuing TC as a long-term hobby, I would definitely recommend picking up a laminar flow hood like the one you see behind me. It just helps keep everything sterile, and you'll have a lot less contamination than just using a steel airbox. But we will show you with an airbox from, this is a beginner's guide, and you can have success with it if you're very careful. The more that you get into tissue culture, the more your mom's basement will start to look like an evil scientific laboratory. It's inevitable, so don't try to fight it. To get started with the transfer, we'll spray everything down with 70% alcohol, including our own arms and gloves, the forceps and a pair of scissors, which have both been autoclaved in the pressure cooker before starting, and we'll also use a cheap glass bead sterilizer. The glass bead sterilizer is where we can store the forceps when we need to put them down. Once everything is set up, the transfer process is really quick. I essentially just take the plant sample and transfer it straight into the fresh multiplication media. You want to avoid leaving containers open for too long, and never put down your lid. Just keep them in your non-dominant hand. Avoid placing your arms or your hands over any open containers to avoid contamination. Move as rapidly as possible without, bumping or dropping anything and possibly risking that cross-contamination. There's a lot of iteration on cross-contamination here, because that will essentially destroy all of your hard work, and you'll find out you'll find out later, and it'll be very sad. I made another video that you can check out here with a little bit more information and technicality. I had about 100 comments screaming at me about how I made it more difficult than it had to be, and it's really not that difficult. But here's the thing. Sterilization is difficult, especially during the cutting process and the transfer to growth media. If there is even one single cell of bacteria or one spore that transfers over, your plant will become contaminated, and it's very depressing when that happens. So while, yes, technically, you can do this anywhere on Earth for cheap, if you are doing this at scale, with multiple employees and multiple points of failure, you will want to invest the big bucks in a sterilization process and clean rooms. For everybody chiming in that this is easy as it gets, it's as cheap as it gets, it's so easy, blah, blah, blah. I can literally tell you've never tried to batch out enough product for a month's worth of capital overhead every month and dealt with the crushing disparity of having a third of your plants become contaminated after literally doing everything you feasibly thought possible that you could to avoid it. Now, if you are not starting with pre-cultured plants, then you will want to follow these steps, especially for cannabis. After listening to my long-winded disclaimer, you should be adequately warned that this next part brings an exponentially increased chance for contamination. The first thing that you want to do is obtain the tissue culture explants from the cannabis plant that you know and love and sells really easily. Next, you can remove any excess leaves and plant material that are not needed for the TC process. Begin the sterilization process by submerging the cuttings in a 70% ethanol solution for 20 seconds. Place the cuttings back into distilled water for another 20 seconds and lightly stir. Then you can submerge the cuttings in a 10% bleach solution for 12 minutes. All of these solutions will be made with distilled water only. Now you will want to place your cuttings inside of your flow hood. Again, very crucial to make sure all tools have been sterilized beforehand. And now you will just refine the cuttings and remove the end of the shoots. And now you can place them in the media combination that we made at the beginning of the video. And that, my friends, is your current loophole for 2026. You see, for the Farm Bill, they did not close it. They just opened it in a different direction. Make sure that you like and subscribe, because at WKU Consulting, we will keep you on the cutting edge, pun intended, of all things cannabis industry for, well, forever, I suppose. If you liked this video, I know that you will also like one of these popping up over my shoulders. And it has been a blessing, a privilege, nay, an honor to be able to teach and consult with you guys today. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.